Well, thank you for staying with the Monday Report, the town hall session. We're talking about politics and money, and we're asking you the question, can you be a leader in this country without money? We spoke to Makueni Governor Kivutha Kibwana, and this is his take on politics and money. Listen.
It is impossible to go through elections in this country, probably a lot of Africa, without spending substantial amounts of money. From my experience, even for members of county assembly, they still have to spend money so that they can succeed in the elections. So in my view, one of the things that really compromises our democracy and the right of choice by citizens is this question of the money that is spent in elections by candidates.
All right, that was Makueni Governor Kivutha Kibwana saying the use of money compromises democracy itself. All right, let's listen to more Kibra aspirants here, and I'll start with you. Just introduce yourself and tell us what you think the biggest challenge was. And do you agree with Governor Kivutha Kibwana? He says the use of money itself compromises democracy.
Yeah, I agree with him. Good evening, all of you. Yeah, my name is Shadrach Omondi Okindo. I vie for independent by Kibra by election. I'm a bishop as well. And most of the time, I have three things in mind that I believe. One is God, second, people, then third is me. I don't believe in money when you want to do something. First, it starts with the mind. What do you want to do? That's the first capital, not money.
But what do the people believe on the ground?
Yeah. So the people believe in your manifestos, all right? Like me, if I can say it, I didn't have even posters myself during my campaign. Means I ran my campaign without money, and yet I was number 8, position 8. So I believe that money is not everything, because people in the ground, all they want, they don't need our money. What they need the manifestos.
Do you think you'd have performed better if you had someone bankrolling you, if you had more money?
I'm not believing that, because I've seen my colleagues who had money and they did not make it.
Okay.
And they put money like nothing. I think even where they are right now, they are in ICU. If I might not saying wrong, you understand. But me, what I was doing, I was moving door to door and talk with my people in a diplomatic way, because I'm born there. So okay. I say, okay, if I've grown up here, and now I've seen something that it's going wrong somewhere, and I want you people to believe in me, okay, so that you people, you are the one who take me where? To the parliament.
Okay.
And I thank people of Kibra, because I am the only candidate who had no posters. Even if you go to Kibra right now, you will not see my posters. But during this election, I was number 8. So okay. I don't believe in money. I believe in God, and I believe what I have, and I believe my people.
Okay.
Yes.
Brilliant. Just pass the microphone to him and tell us, you introduce yourself as well, and tell us which number you came in, and whether you believe that we are at the issue-based level now, or are we still talking money?
Thank you so much, Trevor. My name is Don Anaklet, Kijana Mdogo. That's how I'm popular on the ground. First, I want to take this opportunity to sincerely thank the people of Kibra, and sincerely thank the Democratic Party of Kenya, the party onto which I reign on in Kibra. And back to the real issue. To begin with, Mheshimiwa John Paul Murigi, thank you so much. You are an inspiration to many. I'm so happy to see you over here. But Trevor, let's get to the real issue. The notion that you can run on a serious elective post in this nation when you don't have money, especially in a cosmopolitan constituency like Kibra, that notion cannot be very far from, cannot be further from the reality. It was difficult, let's be honest. We saw that the so-called top four, let's mention that, had got huge bank accounts, and not just them, like the advocate has just put it here. This is a notion that has been built over time, and while we were trying to circumvent around it, the reality still remained. And the IEBC has seriously failed on their part in trying to curtail this kind of events on the ground. And while on paper it appears possible, on kwa ground vitu ni tofauti.
Thank you. All right, pass the microphone to him as well. Introduce yourself, the party reigning, if you're an independent, also just say it, and then tell us what you think the real challenges are. Are we issue-based or just money-based right now?
All right. Thank you, Trevor, for this very wonderful platform. I'm called Dr. Owito Wayo. I am one of those persons who contested in the last by-election in Kibra, and I contested on the GCK ticket, Green Congress Party of Kenya. And I do believe very firmly that it is quite ineffectual to state here the position I became in the last election. I think it is not effectual. It is not effectual as such, because the person who became number 2 and the person who became number last, they are all equal, after all. Yes, as my friend has stated here. My friend stated here very unequivocally that some of those who spent close to 10 million are nursing injuries. I think they are in ICU, somewhere in Nairobi hospital, if I'm not lying. Back to money politics. In this country, that culture is growing day by day. And I believe that we have an opportunity as young people in this country to withdraw the life-supporting machine that keep this particular behemoth alive. Because at this point in time, I would be celebrating as the MP-elect of Kibra. The people of Kibra would have elected me, notwithstanding what I had in my pocket, notwithstanding where I come from, notwithstanding my age. Of course, I was the youngest. That is a possibility in this country. And it is only possible if the young people of this nation stand together with one of their own, shun divisive politics, say no to money that is gotten through ill means or ill methods, like we saw in Kibra. In the next election, I don't know when it will be, but in the next election, my message to the young people of this country, please, 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 you have the best opportunity to send to the August House, to send to the chambers of legislation, individuals with passion for this nation, individuals with ideas, the competent individuals.
Did you see the money going around yourself in Kibra?
Of course, it was open. It is not something that was hidden. I can attest to this without fear of contradiction, that money was poured to divert the attention of voters.
Okay.
That one is a fact.
Okay.
Thanks so much.
All right. Jabane, you seem to be on the receiving end now. Well, I'd like to hear from you, because Steve Ogolla says IEBC has failed spectacularly.
Yes, thank you, Trevor. I think it's good to appreciate that there are a lot of actors who come on board when it comes to these processes, especially such an important process like finance regulations and the business of money in politics. In this regard, the IEBC does not stand in splendid isolation as the alpha and omega when it comes to these processes. There are a number of other players who are involved in this, and it's good to appreciate. At the outset, it's the legislature which makes these laws, which passes these laws. That is Parliament which enacts these laws, not the IEBC. We merely recommend to Parliament. Secondly, it's the courts which interpret these laws, whether they ultra-vires the Constitution or not, and not the IEBC. The only role of the IEBC is to implement what Parliament has passed. We cannot say we are not going to implement this law because we don't like it, or we are going to cherry pick and say we are picking this law and we are leaving this one. We have to implement the law as passed by the relevant institutions, which is Parliament. So let us look at this thing holistically.
Yeah.
Once we have that law, and it's a fact that in December 2016, Parliament passed an amendment to the Elections Finance Act, and they amended and included a new section, Section 1A, which stated that that law shall not apply to the 2017 general elections. It is stated there. It passed an amendment, Section 1A. There is no way we could go and defy Parliament and say that we are not going to obey what was passed by Parliament. However much we may be unhappy with this or stretch the theory too much. But the fact is that a section was passed.
Okay.
And
so will it take place in 2022 then?
Yes, that section 1A only affected 2017 elections.
All right. Steve Ogolla is not very happy with that. Are you satisfied?
As I've said,
yeah.
I don't have a defensive attitude towards IBC's work.
Yeah.
Because I support IBC's approach to work. And I already say
yeah. Hold on 1 second. I think your microphone has a bit of a concern there. Mule, what do you think?
Well, I think first, just commenting on the question of Parliament in the first instance, I think it was an episode of bad manners for Parliament to attempt, as Steve was saying, to suspend a law which was already in practice. And that's where we started getting it wrong. But I also hear what Steve is saying in terms of the firmness of IEBC, in terms of ensuring that there is a level playing ground. Because bottom line, from an observer point of view, I want these candidates to be able to participate in an election where they have a chance. We have to have a level playing ground, because the minute you don't have that, it's already an incredible election, as in the opposite of.
But how do you have a level playing ground when the people who are the players themselves are the ones who are making the rules?
Which people?
The legislators, the MPs, like the ones that he's saying that they put a cap on that amendment. They made an amendment.
We have created what I'd call a predator environment in this country, where everybody, or people in positions of power or positions of leadership, use those positions to predate upon Kenyans, the citizens of this country. Those in high offices where there is a lot of money, they use the opportunity to be able to steal money. Those in parliament, the ones who are able to make decisions or to pass laws, work in a manner that allows them to benefit, to be the beneficiaries of those laws, not the public. So there's a corruption of our morals and corruption of our ethics in the country, which is best exemplified by Parliament. Mheshimiwa hapa can be able to make a
tell us what
about that.
Thinking.
But for me, the question is the institutions which have been given the responsibility to ensure that we have credible elections, that we have a level playing ground where everybody can be able to participate effectively in elections, ought to do it. The Constitution is very unequivocal, very clear in terms of the direction that it gives, that we have to regulate the money which is being used. And the money, and you can see, we're still not even talking about the other side of the coin, by the way. There are two sides of the coin. The one coin is on the money that has to be spent by candidates to be able to get themselves to Parliament. There is also the money that we use on the elections themselves in terms of the cost of the elections. Like I told you in one of your shows, it's one of the highest in the world. We are using more than 2,500 shillings per voter to conduct and manage an election. And the major issue is because we want an election which can be trusted.
Do you feel that's a failure on the IBC part, or is it the reality?
Basically, it's the entire system, because the question of trust is about Kenyans not trusting the systems, either because of poor management, because of poor leadership, and therefore you become suspicious and skeptical about what can be achieved through a means which is not very clear. In fact, the entire issue of technology, which is the biggest factor of cost in elections, is because people are saying, well, we cannot be able to see through this bottle nicely. We need something which proves to us that that is water inside. And therefore we have to coin up something, a system, which is more expensive. When the rest of the world is actually moving away from electoral technology, we are the ones employing it because we don't trust our systems. So we have to deal with some ethical issues and bad manners, especially in leadership in the country.
Steve, you wanted to respond?
To clarify something so that we can move to the next point of discussion. What would happen in 2022 if Parliament, being rogue as it were, decides to amend the Election Campaign Finance Act to further defer implementation of the Election Campaign Finance Regulation? What would IEBC do? That's a question. That's a question. Are we saying that IEBC lacked opportunities for innovation? And I already said the Election Campaign Finance Act need not to be the anchor law. The anchor law is the Constitution. And there are entry points in the Elections Act. A lot of entry points exist. IEBC missed that opportunity. It was a spectacular fail. We can't overemphasize it. But here's the thing. If you look at the intention of the drafters of the Constitution, why they said that election campaign finance need to be regulated. Because they know, in our local context, that excessive use of money in campaign will create compulsion for corruption. That's why if you read Article 88(4) and you read Article 81, Article 81 speaks to election free from improper influence and or corruption. Corruption in election management is about money. It's about money. We need to democratize our elections. You know, it sounds oxymoronic because election in and of itself is at the center of democracy. So when things are that bad, when we talk about democratization of election, by de-emphasizing the use of money, which the Constitution seems to prefer, and we are stranded. But let me tell Kenyans this, because that point is already emphasized. I want IEBC to agonize how to move the next election, regulating campaign finance, whether Parliament passes that law or attempts to defy it again. Now, there's a problem of design with the Election Campaign Finance Act itself. The law is unimplementable. It creates expenditure lines, budget lines. You get budget lines that are not realistic, estimates that are not implementable, and out of touch with our lived realities. For instance, if you say you cannot use a specific amount beyond a specific amount on posters, on PA address, what if I don't want to print posters? He just said he never used posters. Maybe he was riding on the confidence of text messages, door to door. Is IEBC prepared to realign the budget line for posters for a candidate who does not want to print posters? Is he going to be allowed to use that money to do door-to-door campaign, to send messages? So there's a problem of design in the Election Campaign Finance Act.
So even as it is, it's
unimplementable. It is unimplementable, number one. Number two, and the greater scandal, you know, if not tragedy, if you like, when you say, and Mule spoke to it, when you set spending limits, allowing candidates, gubernatorial, senatorial, and county women in Nairobi to spend up to 433 million. In April 2016, IEBC gazetted spending limits, allowing candidates to spend up to 433 million to capture an election, a county women rep in Nairobi. How much is the salary?
That is money you would never earn.
How much is the salary? Even if you're too charitable, give them $1 million. $1 million times 12 months in a year, times 5 years, that's how much? 60 million. I mean, can you just see the tragedy? That's what I'm saying. We need to democratize our elections. The way forward is this, and I want to challenge this aspirant. I'm very happy because I see they're youthful, but do they also understand the intricate and sophisticated nature of governance Or are they plunging into politics for self-amusement or just to try? No offense intended. We cannot cheapen the office of elected representatives, either at the MCA, MP, county women, even at the presidential level. Have you really soul-searched, and to what extent have you made yourself open to accountability? The Constitution, and Mune will tell you, requires social vetting. And sometimes you can even promote it yourself. How many of these aspirants, Trevor, can tell us now how much they used? I agree with IEBC on one point. Campaign financing regulation is a shared responsibility. As a constitutional and statutory obligation, they have the bulk of the responsibility. But they can't do it in isolation. How many of these candidates, I challenge all of you, tell us, how much did he use in this election?
Okay.
Because you must document.
The proposed campaign finance regulations had put a lot of emphasis on disclosure, which is now what you're talking about.
Which is what I'm just trying to do. Why I'm saying that, the better way when you're dealing with campaign financing, de-emphasize. In the US, I told you, they prefer a libertarian approach, spend as you wish, but disclose your sources. What is being controlled is individual contribution. You can contribute up to 20% of your budget. An individual can contribute up to 20% of his budget. But spend liberally, but disclose your sources.
Disclose your sources.
When you begin
we don't
to
have
require,
that.
we don't have that. When you begin to require disclosure, if I'm spending 300 million in an election, first of all, how much am I worth? KRA will know. KRA will know because they have been filing returns. How is contributing to my election? Because it will create opportunities for what we call quid pro quo corruption, meaning give and take after election. So can we share intimate figures, how interactive with the election? If you spend 50 million, for instance, how do you raise 50 million? Who are your donors? And I challenge all of us. Who are your contributors? And how have you accounted for it? Don't sit here and try to push the youth to the campaign big money when you yourself, even the little used, is from my own sources.
All right. I will take a very quick break. When we come back, I'll come back to the Honorable Member. Tell us whether Parliament is deliberately sabotaging the Finance Campaigns Act. But also I'd like to hear from you. We're running some of your tweets underneath the screen at Trevor Mbija, at Citizen TV Kenya. Use the hashtag Monday Report. We want to hear your views on whether you can actually be a leader in this country without money. That is the question we're asking you this evening. See you in just a bit.